Right now, the most fun that I'm having with Stellar Crown is using this 3-card combo that can straight up win the game on turn 1. Wellspring Ogerpon EX, double Turbo Energy, Sparkling Crystal, knock out 2 of their fellas before they even get a chance to evolve, shake my hand. And this combo is really consistent and easy to pull off just about every single game. There are 3 main ways to assemble this turn 1 attack: Arven, Colress's Tenacity, and an extra spicy personal favourite of mine that I'll go into after I talk about these supporters. First up is Arven. This is probably the most obvious option that comes to mind. You can straight up search for Sparkling Crystal as well as any item that you want. One of the big benefits to using Arven as the enabler for this combo is that it's just generally a powerful card on its own. Many decks are already running 4 Arven as their engine. It's also searchable via Luminion, so if you only want to run 1 Arven, or if you just don't see it in your opening hand, you can still easily find it on the first turn. Plus, like I said before, you just get an item for free, whether that's a Nest Ball to find Wellspring Ogerpon, a Switch to get into the active, or just anything else that you might need. Arven will find it. But there are a couple downsides to relying on Arven too. It can be difficult to find the double Turbo Energy for the combo. You'll generally need to be playing a deck that already runs 4 DTE, and even then, you might want to put in something like an Energy Lotto to increase the odds of finding it. Also, it takes up your support of a turn, meaning that you won't get to play anything like a Research or an Iono to see more cards. Next up, we have Colress's Tenacity. This can be used to find both DTE and Town Store, which can then search out Sparkling Crystal. It's incredible that this single supporter can reliably find us both the energy and the tool, which are generally the combo pieces that are more difficult to search. Again, because this is a supporter, it's Luminion searchable, which is always great. Additionally, since you're searching for all these pieces and not overly reliant on naturally drawing into them, you can play a really tight package with just 1 or 2 double Turbo Energies, since they're now searchable. That Ultra Ball in your opening hand could become a Luminion that finds your 1 of Colress's Tenacity, which finds your 1 of double Turbo Energy, and 1 of Town Store, which then finds your 1 of Sparkling Crystal. And as long as you've got a switching card and a way to search out your 1 of Wellspring Ogerpon, this combo is sorted. I'd probably recommend playing more than just 1 of all these, since prizing cards is a thing, but the option is there. Colress's Tenacity isn't perfect though. It's not the most flexible card, which is why we do see quad Arven decks, but not really any decks wanting to play 4 Colress's Tenacity. Similarly to Arven, it is your supporter for turn, which is fine, but it's just not ideal. You also do need to play Town Store to enable this, which is arguably not a downside, but it does eat up another deck space and is definitely something that you need to consider. One other thing. Cure exists. Yeah, this is technically a card that has Colress in its name, so that Plasma Bane ability is going to be active, which can be a real problem in the Regidrago matchup. It's not the end of the world, but it's just annoying to have to deal with such a random interaction. Alright, now for the spicy one. My favorite enabler for this combo is Oranguru V. Why? Because it's a monkey. It won't eat up your supporter for turn, so you can still rip a Research when building up to the big combo. Since it's a Pokemon, it's even easier to find than these Luminion searchable supporters. And Oranguru V grabs 2 tools from the deck, instantly giving you access to both Sparkling Crystal and a Forest Sealstone that you can immediately slam onto the monkey. This lets you search for any other card that you might need, or if you already have everything, just save it for later. Unfortunately, not even monkeys are perfect. This guy is going to be taking up a bench space, but we can work around this by playing the new stadium, Area 0 Underdepths, which expands our bench and is already going to be active thanks to Wellspring Ogerpon. You're also going to need to be playing a few switching cards to get Oranguru into and then out of the active spot. This means that it really only fits into a deck that already has all these spare switching cards. Maybe something like an Iron Valiant deck. And although you can use Forest Sealstone to find double Turbo Energy, you'd rather not be using it just to do that every single game. So you'll be wanting to run this in a deck that is already happy to play 4 DTEs. So I think that's proof that the combo is actually easy enough to pull off consistently. But is it really game winning? Do you remember how devastating it was when Lost Box would pull off that turn 1 Mirage Gate into Radiant Greninja? This is even more damage than that. You do give up a little flexibility since unlike Radiant Greninja, you do have to attack the active and can't just target 2 benched Pokemon, but this generally isn't an issue, and when it is, you can always just play something like Iron Bundle to get a better target into the active. How many times does your opponent go first and their setup just looks like this, or even this? Wouldn't you love to just win the game on the spot? Another great thing about Wellspring Ogerpon is that it's super easy to reuse the attack. Unlike Radiant Greninja, the energy isn't discarded, it's shuffled back into the deck. So all you need to do is find and attach another double Turbo Energy, and you can use Torrential Pump again. Say you attack on turn 1 and knock out your opponent's only Charmander before they can evolve. They can't take a return KO on your Ogerpon, they've got no Charmanders to evolve and attack with. So what are they going to do? Bench more Charmanders? You can just keep using Ogerpon to knock those out as well. As long as you keep finding the energy, you win. You're probably screaming, but what if they play Manaphy? Well, that's not something that they want to do. If they preemptively bench Manaphy, you've already gained an advantage. They're sacrificing a board space and weakening their initial setup in a desperate attempt to stop themselves from immediately losing the game. Plus, if you subscribe right now, all of your opponents are going to prize Manaphy every game anyway, I promise. One other thing I want to quickly mention is the utility of Sob. Trapping one of your opponent's Pokemon in the active is a severely underrated option, and it can let you steal a game that you otherwise had no right winning. If you know your opponent is out of switching options, you can even attach a double turbo energy to reduce Sob's damage to 0, letting you trap one of their Pokemon that can't attack, like a Manaphy, Radiant Greninja, or Rotom, until they just deck out and you win. What we've been talking about doesn't really form a deck on its own though. It's more of a neat little package that can be added into something that already exists. So what kind of deck can actually utilize this cute combo? Ideally, the deck should benefit from double turbo energy in at least some other way. You'd also want to have other Terra Pokemon that can make use of Sparkling Crystal to open up more possible options. And since you want to be able to attack on turn 1, it's important to have a couple ways to get a new Pokemon to the active. Cards like Switch and Rescue Board would be good, since you won't be starting Wellspring Ogerpon every game. Greninja EX is an obvious choice for a partner. The deck already wants to run both Sparkling Crystal and double turbo energy, since its second attack shares the exact same cost as Ogerpon's. Here's the best performing available list from online limitless tournaments. Look how easily we could slot in the package if we want the option for a powerful turn 1 attack. They're already playing 4 Arven, so we just need to bump up the double turbo energy count, put in an Arven searchable switching card to ensure that we can get into the active, and of course actually add in the Wellspring Ogerpon. To make room for this, I'd say we can cut a Fan Rotom, since we really only need 1. Terapagos can go, seeing as we have a new basic Terra Pokemon joining the deck. We can thin out the Froakie count since we're supplementing it with a functionally similar attacker. And for this example, we can swap out the Turo for a Switch. It's not quite the same, but it will drastically improve our odds of attacking on turn 1. With these changes, opening hands like this can enable a turn 1 donk. Just Nest Ball for Ogerpon, attach a double turbo energy from hand, use Arven to grab Sparkling Crystal and a Switch, and then just shake their hand. How easy was that? Another deck that already wants Sparkling Crystal and loves to spread damage is Dragapult EX. It doesn't normally play DTE, but including a single copy can have some other interesting applications, such as attacking with Pidgeot EX, which comes up more than you'd think. Here's the highest placing Dragapult list from online limitless tournaments. Because they already run Lumineon, we could absolutely squeeze in a tight package to enable turn 1 Wellspring Ogerpon. We'll need to add in Colress's Tenacity and Town Store, as well as a double turbo energy and Wellspring Ogerpon. Again, because we're adding in another attacking option, we can probably thin out the main line of attackers and cut a Dreepy and a Dracloak. Because we're adding in some Stadium Search in the form of Colress's Tenacity, we can remove one of those Pokemon League headquarters. And it may not be the perfect change, but for now, let's just swap out one of those Arvens for a Colress's Tenacity. If you open up with Ogerpon in the active, or just have a Ball Surge for it, plus either Rescue Board, Sparkling Crystal, or Forest Sealstone in hand, a single Ultra Ball will get you to that turn 1 attack. Just use Ultra Ball for Lumineon, grab Colress's Tenacity, use it to search out both double turbo energy and Town Store, then use that Town Store to find either Sparkling Crystal or Rescue Board, Nest Ball for Wellspring Ogerpon, and there you go, that's game. If you do use Sparkling Crystal like this, you may run into the issue of not being able to set up a Dragapult as easily. But if you've significantly slowed your opponent down, or just straight up won the game, it is absolutely worth it. Plus, you always have Crispin to instantly power it up later anyway. One other thing that I can't not point out is that this list plays Radiant Alakazam. Using this guy in combination with Sob can lead to some insane game-winning lines. Lastly, a brand new deck that doesn't love Sparkling Crystal quite as much, but does play 4 double turbo energy is Terapagos EX. Here's a bit of a messy list that I've personally cooked up for Iron Valiant Terapagos. There are a whole bunch of different ideas jammed into here, but one of the best aspects in my testing has been the synergy between Oranguru V and Wellspring Ogerpon in a deck that already has a high count of switch cards. There is too much going on in this list to talk about everything in this video, but check out how easily you can put together a turn 1 torrential pump with this deck. Let's just drop these Nest Balls to grab Oranguru and Ogerpon. We'll switch the monkey into the active and search our deck for a Forest Sealstone and Sparkling Crystal. Attach a double turbo energy and Sparkling Crystal onto Ogerpon. And since I haven't played a supporter yet, I can just rip this Iono to find another switching card and get Ogerpon into the active. And if I whiff, I still have Forest Sealstone to find it anyway. I hope you can have even half as much fun with this combo as I've been having, because it's incredible. I really do want to hear down in the comments what kind of decks you end up trying this out in, and how many times you're able to donk your opponent. That's all from me for now, but I'm going to be doing a whole bunch more testing with this concept and you won't want to miss it.